That'll be us live. Gents, how we doing?
Not bad. What about yourself? First live stream we're all actually together for a change, which is nice.
I know, we're
Nice to finally do this.
We're all here in Copper del Bundy. So, welcome to episode 14 of the Timing Podcast. Obviously, we're all here today. We're all joined together. We're also going to be talking about something pretty serious, so we're going to try to keep on topic as much as possible. And what we're going to be discussing is COVID-19. Not so much the political side of it, but more the sort of impact, how it's impacted us as actual people. We're not going to get into a big rant about politics, how it was created, yada yada. So before we start,
Early feedback is you have to smile more.
I have to smile more. Hiya. Prozac boy. But so first of all, Bundy, do you want to give us a little update on what's happening with the whole podcast? And
So as you can see, live streaming the current episode. Hopefully going to be recording another episode today as well. And as some people might know, we've been streaming quite a wee bit on the Time and Twitch channel that we're live streaming this on. We've had some good support, so appreciate everyone. Bill, Vic, everyone else, Georgia, appreciate it. We are going to be streaming later on with Quiplash or Scribble or something along those lines, so that will be quite a fun one for people to get involved in as well. And we are going to be continuing the streams hopefully pretty regularly. I will be streaming whatever the fuck I feel like. Craig, same. Ewan, same.
Aye, that's the plan.
did I not get the memo to wear a black hat, by the way?
Everybody's got a COVID cut. Everybody's got a really bad trim at the minute.
I know, you're not joking.
Wow.
You have to stop shaking your legs because it's making the camera go crazy. Whatever that's, behave yourself.
I'm really wary. I didn't realise I'd been
It's just like
exposing
a wee side shot.
If a nut falls out, I apologise in advance. But anyway.
Well, this is a perfect time. Ewan, would you like to tell us a bit about our sponsor, Crusoe Rum?
Cruiser Rum logo should be up there somewhere. In fact, we actually have a prop.
We have a prop today.
Crusoe Rum.
There you are. Signed by the man himself, Mr. Ian Brown.
So we're sponsored by Crusoe Rum, which it came out this week.
It did indeed, yeah. He launched on Monday and he only put it live on his website on Wednesday.
That's pretty, as far as I'm aware, it's doing well so far.
Yeah, he's been in local papers. He's getting a real bit of
good bit of
PR. Yeah, there's a good bit of buzz about it, which is cool. So
get a discount code at some point so people can try it. For like, we're going to do at some point when this loser isn't driving and this other loser can drink. We're going to do a podcast, a live one where we can drink. And we're going to set a challenge where we have to buy drinks for the other two.
Yeah,
hopefully it's going to be hideous.
Yeah, we're thinking £20,
mm-hmm.
And just buy the weirdest shit that we can.
As much vodka as you can for 20 quid. So
somebody's getting. You can get that really shit stuff. Is it Rushnikov?
No.
That's €3 though. Anyway,
but a couple other bits as well. Right where my crotch is, if for anyone that's watching the live stream and not listening, right here. Do you want a point as well, just in case anybody gets lost?
I don't like it. You can't see my hand.
I'm sorry. Why didn't I put the laptop there? But yeah, our second sponsor is Triumph Chairs. We have a discount code set up, which is Time and Podcast. That will get you 10% off. They do a range of high quality gaming chairs to sort of lower end to kind of suit all needs. Some include LED lights, massagers built in. It's pretty insane.
It's got racing series, alternate racing series, and RGB series.
There we go.
Wow,
that's pretty impressive, mate. And all of it's available.
Could be lying, we don't know.
We could be, but all is available at www.triumphchairs.com.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they're doing free shipping for everywhere in the US and UK at the moment as well, which is pretty cool. So, what are you drinking, boys?
I had a beer. I've got a different beer.
What have you got?
I've got a wee Budvar just so everybody gets the noise again.
Honorary fashion.
Just it's basically a mix of what beer I had left. That's juice, isn't it?
I have water. Because
did you get it from a dam?
Health. Look at the size of this thing. Water because health.
So for that reason, I've had one already. I've had this, and I'm going to try and make sure I squeeze in another beer before the end of the recording, just so that we have had 3 as a collective. Picking up the slack here.
Water.
the H2O as well. Unfortunately, I'm driving, but what can we do? So, I'm just reading the comments as well. If there's any questions, we'll probably look at it to the tail end, just to kind of keep the flow of the podcast.
We'll have a look at we'll have a look and we'll interact with chat as well, because I don't think Vic could go the whole length of the podcast without being spoken to via chat. So
she's already made a wide comment about you being professional.
Yep.
Yep, that's pretty good.
It's fine. You'll go off tangent. So we're going to start off. I've got some notes here. We're doing this pretty rough today, but the impact of COVID. So first of all, I'll fire off to you, Ewan. How has it affected you? What's been the biggest impact on you?
Work seems like the obvious one, because most people are part office based, at least. So the days I would have been in the office, I'm at home. When I have been out on site, it's been where I work. The roads are empty. It was bizarre at the beginning, especially March, April, May. So closer to being back to normal now, and not having any training, I found that exceptionally difficult, because you're not training with a team. It's quite hard to get motivated in the house. You have no gyms to go to. That was really a struggle for me.
Training for the b-ball.
Yep. But it did give rise to like a lot of home workouts and people doing a lot of running, because the 5 kilometre kind of challenge people are doing for a while. Who could run 5 kilometres the fastest? That was pretty good. That people were getting at that. People who never run, or even hill walking. See how popular that's become.
Mm-hmm. People bouncing up hills at the weekend, every weekend.
What about you, mate?
I think, like, again, work is a big one for me, because I have been pretty much working from home since starting March. We're now obviously at the end of August, so I had never really bothered working from home. I had the option, never really done it that much. So to then be forced to work from home for like months, like at a time, right the way through, is quite different. And I think as well, just I'm one of these people who I do things really erratically. So like I'll just nip to Asda and buy like food shopping for like those like the next 2 days, and then go and at the start you're like only essentials, and I was literally going in and buying like Terry chocolate oranges. So I was like, well, but I think just like stuff like that, where it's just like it's changed the whole landscape. Like anytime I go to one of the supermarkets, you need to literally stand in a queue with your mask on and wait to be told that you can go in, because it's almost like a one in one out capacity kind of thing as well. So it's really weird that way.
Do you guys still forget masks when you go out?
All the time.
I literally have to keep mine in my pocket, because
that's a G-string, mate.
They're mine.
Just put that in your face.
you got to give us a demo now that we're live streaming. You aren't all black. You do look like you're about to rob someone. Mate.
I would think I was getting mugged if I seen you come.
Take that off.
It looks better.
I think from my sort of side of things is that there was a lot that was different. I think my routine went out the window, and it ended up that I was staying up to ridiculous times in the night and sleeping until later in the morning. But my partner was really good. She got us into a routine that we can't sit on TVs, etc. until late in the evening. We'd go out walking or whatever during the day, so we did get a bit of routine. And what I was going to go into next is that there was a lot of positives about it. So looking at this side, in our working lives, we're all roughly the same age, no fucking jokes. But we are roughly all the same age, and that will be the biggest break we will have in our working career until we retire. Let's be honest.
Wasn't it a break? I had to work through the whole thing.
Yeah, well, sorry.
So
but
it's the biggest break.
Biggest break for me.
In your working career.
But fair enough, right? So we can't talk about that. But for positives for you guys, what sort of positives did you get from it? This is going well.
Go with him first, because I'm struggling.
There must be
if you
something.
know, I think it kind of taught new skills in terms of like you need to adapt very quickly, and especially in the work and even home situation, and just in general, like adapting to like the new version of everyday life. Because I would go and see one of my mates just randomly just go into their house and sit and chill and talk shit. Yep. It's stuff like play golf or anything like that, and for a long time you just couldn't do it, so you had to kind of content yourself with your own surroundings. And for some people, they got driven absolutely stir crazy, or they made the most of it and adapted and a lot of people have obviously done, and a lot of businesses as well have done a lot of improvements. That's why you see so many businesses that have like done up shops and all that kind of stuff, and then you see a lot of people getting interiors kind of redone and stuff like that as well. So I think it's giving people time to do maybe what they wouldn't have had time to do.
Yeah.
But definitely adapting has been something that's been quite a positive.
Biggest positive. I think you're just about to jump on it as well. Go for it, mate.
We made this podcast because we're the
That's why we're sitting here.
What have I actually done? But side projects, that's a great point like this, but you need a lot of time to get it started, but then it should be relatively little time you need to input going on. But side projects, so if you've got something you're working on, I won't say what, but you've not finished it and you've been spending potentially years trying to finish it, you've got some time to work on it. That sort of thing's pretty good.
I think there's been a lot of COVID projects that people have just dropped now that lockdown's been lifted. But I think the good sense from us is we've kind of been bitten by this podcast bug.
Yeah.
And we've just kept going. And
streaming as well,
yeah. It's kind of funny how it all incorporates into one. But
met some really cool people doing it as well. Some not so cool people, but
yeah, some scary people in chat. But that's
some Welsh people. They've been brand new.
Yeah. Oh, who was it you guys were speaking to last night? Welsh Dragon Gaming 1 to give them
the Dragon. Yeah, Welsh Dragon Gaming 1. Definitely go check him out. He had 16 at one point last night. 16 viewers on the stream. Was it?
I think it was over 20 at one point. I know he was quite happy with it. So
I was really happy. The Mad Shagger was loving it. Definitely.
100%.
That's made its way in.
And then even like people like Vic and Georgia, and obviously Phil, who you know, Craig, and he's obviously he's been kind of like in the Discord chats and stuff when we've been streaming. It's been kind of cool to get to know people like that, because it's people that I wouldn't have met and you wouldn't have met most likely unless we had some sort of random night out with you and he was there. But now that it's through the stream, it wouldn't be an issue for us to all go on a kind of night out and have a drink and stuff like that. So it's different, definitely. And
because we are streaming this live, probably we're saying hello to everybody who is in the chat.
Yeah, probably a good interlude.
Mm-hmm.
So Vic, Phil, we won't give him his nickname. Chuck's feedback's in, how you doing?
Chuck, my man.
And the other one's me, so we'll leave that.
No,
I'm just firing out abuse.
But no, I think we would have never done a podcast if it wasn't for lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
We would have never been sat here now doing it. So that has to be an advantage.
To be fair, if we weren't doing this, I'd probably be max level in Destiny 2.
Probably, mate.
You'd probably be a stone heavy. Fuck.
Mate, that's one of the negatives. But that's another story.
I feel bad.
You just put me off track.
I would just be playing golf constantly, still.
Golf, we've actually got surprisingly good at golf. One of your friends...
Do you know we have just came back from golf today?
Who won?
You did, actually.
Exactly, so we're getting it. One of myself and Bundy's friends has actually got dead into golf. Has got dead into golf, and he never really played before, so that's been good getting everyone into that. And it's quite a frustrating sport, but it's one you can go around with a can. You know, you can have a laugh with your mates when you're going around. It's good fun.
Or cans.
Plural cans. But yeah, I'm just kind of looking at my notes, being really unprofessional. But this is probably a good way to break it up. So work. Let's talk about work, because we all work in different sectors. Even though Bundy's and I's job can be similar to a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Start off with you, actually. How's your work changed with the whole setup?
It's changed quite a lot, because from what I do, we deal with the hospitality sector, and also it's more like we deal directly with businesses. So businesses that were doing really well, were in a really good place, and especially some of the bigger groups and chains that had multiple businesses under them. They are now coming to us and saying, like, we're really struggling. What can you do to help us, and that kind of stuff. And it's really kind of strange, because the people who you might have thought would have struggled quite a bit are doing really well. There's some independent businesses who have thrived. So it's a really mixed bag. And I think, like, in terms of work for me, it meant that even though I worked entirely the way through, there was pretty much no work to actually be done. It was more checking in and seeing if everyone, like, how they were doing and what their kind of plans were, what they were going to be doing. Are they going to be closing the doors? Are they going to be remaining open? How are they going to adjust, and how can we help them adjust? So That was very different from our normal conversations and stuff that we have with our kind of customer base. So it was a completely new skill. It was almost like a total new job in a certain way, because I would never have phoned someone and been like, "So, how are you guys doing? Like, what are you planning? Have you thought about this? Have you thought about that?" It used to be pure and really focused on, cool, you're doing well. What kind of orders do you want? What do you need to keep going? Not like how do you survive? So that was quite a challenge.
It's quite before we jump onto it, it's kind of probably good of Annerly, because the work that Bundy and I do, we both deal with the hospitality sector, so that's bars, restaurants, hotels, etc. Bundy has more of an interaction through email and phone call. I actually work for a spirits company. They own a wide range of both Scottish and Japanese spirits.
There's the space for their sponsorship if they're interested.
I don't think the likes of Macallan will be sponsoring us anytime soon.
Can't shite it. Sorry, you go.
But it's so strange, because my day-to-day job, as much as it would incorporate sales, it would also incorporate a lot of training, events, so whether it be a gin tasting, whether it be a cocktail class, whatever it is, it's quite different now. That to take away that whole face-to-face interaction with people, now everything's done through email, phone, etc. It's so difficult. So, for example, I had to do a virtual tasting with the guys who own the V&A in Dundee.
Oh, really?
Aye.
Is that not quite strange, did it? Or
Well,
is it pretty much like this?
It's like, but I converted my kitchen to a bar.
Oh, right.
So I had it. We're quite fortunate.
I've seen the pictures, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm actually quite fortunate we had all the podcast stuff and the kind of skills that we're learning from that, because it allowed me to be a bit more proactive and actually do this virtual tasting at home. So it went really well, but it's so strange, because now we're starting to have that face-to-face interaction, and you're kind of like, well, we can't do events. I can't come behind the bar and work with you. I can't really sell you anything, because, to be honest, most people are either closing down or struggling for money as is. It's the big chains that are surviving, and your small independents are struggling. So it's really, really surreal. But one thing I did find, at first people are very, look, leave me alone, let us get settled. But the way in which it's standing now, I think people are a bit more receptive and are actually wanting to have a bit more human interaction, because it's been 4 months that people haven't had that human interaction. So we kind of tie in a little bit,
especially because like a lot of them, like you said at the start, they were kind of like leaves alone, because they especially the hospitality sector, they had to make sure that if it was like a pub, club, hotel or anything like that, they had to make sure that they had all the kind of like PPE and if you go into some pubs and restaurants and stuff, you'll see like the partitions and stuff in between booths and all that. So they obviously had to do the same as kind of what we do, which was learn very quickly what do I need in order to open and be able to open, and to make it so that we are not one of the places where we're going to have an instance of this or a breakout of this virus, because if that happens, then the likelihood is they'll shut for another undisclosed amount of time and potentially not open again, especially with independent businesses as well. So it's been really, really weird that way, because that's something that if you had said at the start of the year, like, what do you think will be happening this year, I would never have said a global pandemic. So
is your offices now, they must be closed, because like mine's is now declared that they won't open this year.
Yeah, we're pretty much the same. I don't think we'll be going back.
I actually heard that local authorities, which will be across the board, it's going to be April next year.
Well, which this kind of allows perfectly, because you're in a totally different scenario to Bundy and I.
Yeah.
What's happened with your work? What's the score there?
We've basically been told that offices are only for certain people, and they've started spreading them out. So see, when you go in, there's only certain desks you would be able to sit at. Obviously, people have specialist software and stuff, so it is a bit of a nightmare. But I'm only part office based, so when I'm out and about, we're allowed to do that. But there's so many more rules and regulations about where you can stand at a roadside, that kind of thing, how you have to get out of the way of people, how you have to mark what you're doing. It's pretty insane, and it's a job that I would typically do with someone else, but I'm now doing it by myself, so there's more rules and regulations come with that, especially if you're out in rural areas and stuff, you know. But working from home isn't something my work was ready for, and they've had to order ridiculous amounts of hardware, so like laptops, because some people just didn't have laptops, and some people don't even have Wi-Fi that work where I work, so they can't have laptops. It's bizarre.
Did you not see? And it was Sky that put in the largest order ever in the UK for desk chairs. Because what happened was they'd done a health and safety assessment, and they declared that obviously it wasn't safe for people to sit in like wooden sort of dining chairs, so they had to actually send desk chairs to all their staff. I might be wrong.
Well, they basically gave every staff member the option of, do you want to have a desk chair, and they even desks, like you can get anything. You can get on monitors, you can get desk chairs, you can get an actual desk, anything at all, because obviously. Especially with like it being obviously one of the kind of biggest companies in the UK, they need to make sure that they're doing everything that they can to try and support, because they're quite a diverse employer as well. So
they worked on something similar. The idea was you could buy it, or you would get it provided to you, but when you went back to the office, it went back to the workplace. That being said, we all know, but it's like sitting an uncomfy chair and desk for say 8 hours a day, 5-6 days a week, which is why Triumph chairs are a great option if you're going to be sitting gaming after it.
My genitals are
I really hope that these sponsors are actually showing up on the screen, because if they're not, and I've just...
It just looks like you're fondling
Triumph chairs.
Just here. Discount's right here. It's crazy. Do you know what? If you guys not realised, maybe, especially you, Bundy, how little people actually need to work in an office to work. How little you actually need to work with others on certain things. I think as much as fingers crossed it'll be eradicated by next year, there'll be cures, vaccines. The world has changed forever now, I think, in some circumstances, and I think employers and workplaces are looking at it that we can operate differently now.
Because they could potentially save money from it. A
lot
of the banks have tiny offices, hundreds of employees, and you have to book a parking space, you have to book a desk and everything, so no reason other places can't work like that.
I think working from home's only going to sort me. I'm about to knock over the microphone, but Bundy's in saving the day.
I'll tell you one thing I can't deal with though. See, when you're at work, there's some people that you just, doesn't matter if you email, you phone, you can't get hold of them. You have to just go and see them. There's nobody to crack the whip on the people now. You're stuck. See if they don't reply, if they can't be bothered, fuck it, you can't get anything from them.
No, but
that does my head in.
I think,
because I don't know where to live.
I think it doesn't matter what happens with COVID going forward. I think work will change forever now, for a long period of time. Certainly.
There's companies that have already came out and said, like, we're just scrapping our offices, everyone's working from home. And even like when you look at like the gaming world, there's been a lot of postponements on certain games because they've had to then adapt to working in an office and then working from home and stuff like that.
What one would that be?
Destiny 2 would be
one that I had to move my fucking holidays for the start.
But even things like Cyberpunk and stuff like that, I know they've already moved previously, but I think they were like, we want to make sure it's the best, and we want to make sure that the work that we've done from home is going to like carry over and be the same quality. So ones like that, I've done it. And then I know that obviously Halo Infinite was another big one as well.
What's happened with Valhalla, Assassin's Creed Valhalla? Is that still going ahead?
They haven't said anything about delays, so that should be end of next month.
You know the new Call of Duty? It was announced quite late. You think that was delayed before they released the announced date?
No, I think that was.
That was always going to be.
I think that was always going to be because the Warzone was doing so well. There was absolutely no point in them like announcing it early, because a lot of the time, like Call of Duty tapers off towards the end, and then that's it. But Warzone's just been as strong as ever, so there was was like an absolute play by them. So they were really smart doing that. But as I say, games like Halo Infinite and stuff again postponed until after the launch, which is quite a hit for Xbox in my opinion. But
it's a massive hit.
It's something that obviously just shows you that no matter how big these companies are, I think every single industry's been affected in some way, shape or form.
Yeah. I mean, Halo was the big blockbuster name for...
No, that was a flagship for it.
Yeah.
We've talked about this before, and we'll not get too much into the gaming side, but PlayStation in regards to exclusives and what's going on has a lot more than Xbox, and I think that is the case, mate. But I think Halo.
You happen to like more of the exclusives for
I think this year, from what PlayStation have done.
Right,
we're going to
get before. This is all going to kick off. 2-hour conversation.
Mr. PlayStation sponsor here will jump in, but what I want to do is, I want to separate. Stop it! I want to separate this bit into three things. right?
Right.
So I want to talk about 3 things that have been completely changed since lockdown. One being supermarkets, one being hospitality trade with bars, but another one needs to be online sales. So the likes of your Amazons and stuff.
The fact that Jeff Bezos I think he was the first person to hit 200 billion.
Yeah.
So
they've now just
That's
became the
sick,
biggest company, Amazon, in the world.
Wow.
It's now overtaken Microsoft.
To be fair, have you guys ordered at least, let me think, 10 things off Amazon? 10 things more than you would have normally since the start of lockdown?
It's one of these things that like why I know that it's just going to be a hassle for me to go into one of these like shops or anything like that, and I could just go on Amazon and order it, and someone will just come to the door with it. And I know this is another weird one when you say like online, but takeaways and stuff as well. I've changed it a bit as well.
That, sorry.
Like the whole like when you order on like one of the takeaway apps or anything like that, you'll see like contactless delivery, and somebody just literally comes and like leaves at your door.
How Greg's been on the takeaways?
Listen, I get a takeaway quite a lot because I am a greedy guy. But just stuff like that where it's just like even they've had to adapt, and the fact that like that was something that used to be really like normal, which is now changing. So it just goes to show there's not really anything that's not been affected.
You just think, like, in regards to online sales, so I'll give you some examples. So for anyone within the UK, within our area of Scotland, one of the biggest gin companies is Eden Mill. Thanks, mate. Eden Mill's online sales, they declared, were up 300% during lockdown.
Crazy.
Well, see, if you're not community work, you don't need to drive in the morning. So you think, fuck it, I'll have a beer tonight.
So hopefully my work aren't watching this. But we had a period of time before we got fully furloughed, lockdown, etc. That we were working from home, and a lot of what we do is like cocktail stuff and drinks. And we were making it sometimes at 10 o'clock in the morning for social media, and when you make a nice drink, you know what I mean? You're like, well, it's not going down the sink. But I was going to touch on sort of the bar and hospitality side, and I think I would argue they've been the hardest hitted. Hitted. There we go. There's the first fuck up for today. The hardest hit trade. They've just been fucked over at every possible moment. For example, what's going on at the moment? You can't have live music in a venue because supposedly it makes people raise their voice and shout, which helps the passing of saliva, which helps the spread of COVID.
Even so, you can have live sport, but you can't have it at a high volume because then people would be talking over that at a loud volume as well. So
have you been into bars or pubs recently? It feels like there's no atmosphere. It just feels very quiet, and because people are more spread out, there's less people in, so it's quieter anyway. So there's just no background sound. It's bizarre.
I think one of the weird things as well is like there actually has been instances, especially like one of the main ones being up in Aberdeen, where one of the like a nightclub opened.
So bar, let's name and shame them. They deserve it.
Right, and they opened up, and it was an absolute like nightmare because it was honestly, it looked like some sort of like festival or gig because there's so many people that went, and what happened? Aberdeen got in lockdown because there was a breakout, and you're like, and I think everyone in Aberdeen that hates that man, like
you'll have to move, and
that's him because he single-handedly has fucked other people's businesses and livelihoods. So
yeah, mate, I'll tell you, I'm a member of the Aberdeen bartenders page. Through my work, they've all got one. They're actually big serious things. You're sitting there giggling.
I just think I'd do that every shagger in there. Or is it just you?
Just me, mate. But you should have seen the stuff they were saying. And can you imagine, right? You own your own business, and some dick doesn't play by the rules, forces everyone in just to get a quick buck, and you have to close your business. These little independent bars, if they're not open, they're at risk of going bankrupt. You know what I mean? They need that income.
That's what annoys me. It's the fact that one person has thought, what would have made another couple of £100 if you're lucky.
Yeah,
couple of grand at a push, but he's put how many businesses potentially out forever? That could be them away.
One thing I will say in the hospitality side of things, some people done really well. So I'm friends with someone who owns it's like a little sort of bar cafe, just really basic, but really good food, nice drinks as well, really friendly atmosphere. And what they've done is they tailored what they were selling through takeaway. So obviously they converted to takeaway like a lot of bars and restaurants did. But what they've done is they played on things that were going on. So for example, we had the amazing weather, so there was a lot of people outside having drinks. So they done like an afternoon tea set. So it would have like Prosecco's, cakes, etc., all built in a package. Also, there was the side that there was a lot of parents at home with kids that were driving them bloody mental.
Yeah.
So they done like pizza kits, create a home with your kids, sort of being a bit more interactive. And their sales were up compared to normal. There's other ones as well. So I know obviously some distilleries and whatnot, and they focused their business onto online, doing a bit of sort of interactive tastings, similar to the sort of format that we're doing now for the podcast. And their sales shot up. And now they've changed their business and they completely focus as a sort of main target your sort of online sales.
Yeah.
There has been a slight dip with people going back to work, but I think it's fair to say, again, I love how you used to are both looking the opposite way when I'm talking.
So it's just because there's a question came in, but on you go.
We'll jump into that.
You said to watch the chat, to be fair.
Yeah, no, sorry.
Fucking
Oh, there we go. I can't see it for the logo.
Somebody's followed.
Nazar? Is that how we pronounce that?
Nazar.
Thank you for the follow. Is that correct? Really appreciate it. For anyone
every time somebody follows out, no, I'm kidding.
No, don't. That's for later. But no, I think the way in which online sort of purchasing is going to change forever as well. Going back to Amazon are now going to be selling groceries.
Really?
What is that going to do to small independent shops as well?
Not only that,
Well,
fuck Tesco.
we were just in the town close to where we stay, and we were just walking up the high street, and there's like a fruit and veg shop for example, and I'm into my cooking and stuff like that, and I like to go in and get like fresh fruit, fresh veg and all that kind of stuff, and make it with that. But I know for a fact, because I am very lazy, like if I can save myself a journey and just get the same standard of food delivered to me via Amazon,
Yeah, you would.
I'm doing it.
True. Do you want to go for the question that we had?
Well, I suppose there's kind of a couple. There's comments as well, so
Let's go through them.
Vic said, how do you guys feel about this being the new normal with quieter pubs, lack of atmosphere, as Ewan so eloquently just said,
And having a cap.
a cap of capacity in venues? There's a couple of comments. Phil said he understands the necessity, but it does hurt the experience a bit. Georgia, mate, so she set up a PC in a room full of spiders for last week to be grateful, and we are.
I am
Especially Bundy, because he is terrified of spiders.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of
When
them.
you see a big, muscular, good-looking, handsome guy like me, you think I'm not scared of spiders, but I will run. All right, I will sprint.
How do you guys feel about this being the new normal?
You know what? I feel like it's taken a wee bit, because that is a new normal, and that's never going to be an easy thing. But I think it's been something that everyone has adapted to in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
But I think it's more. I'm not really bothered about the processes and procedures and regulations. I'm more bothered about the social aspect.
Yeah.
Like me and you were in the supermarket the other day, and we seen someone that we know, and we all had the mask on and everything like that, and it was just kind of weird, because I can sit there and smile and laugh, but what you're seeing is this. Like, and it's just not the same. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's really weird. It's and you can't help but notice it while you're interacting with someone. So
it's difficult, isn't it? It's so hard to communicate with a mask. Even today, so we went out playing golf, and then we went and got some food with somewhere that Bundy recommended. And Bundy knows the guy, and obviously I was trying to interact with them and talk to them, but the guy's looking at me saying, just like, what is this guy on about? And it's so difficult to kind of have
Plus, you've got a posh accent.
Quite clearly. I'll use mine to answer the sort of more Barry questions.
Yeah.
Because that kind of fits.
Yeah, I've got one more hang on this. I went to Edinburgh the weekend before lockdown started, and obviously it was heaving, as it always is. We went to Bohemia, which is always full. and it was so loud constantly. And we went out to Edinburgh. What was that, about a month or two ago? In fact,
from the 15th of July, mate, it was reopened.
A month before we went as well, I think. Myself and my partner went through it, and it was dead. It was quite scary seeing how empty it was. And then obviously the three of us went out recently as well, and it was still quiet. There was nowhere that was full.
The one thing I would say about the bar trade is that stay away from your Witherspoons. Just
Because
don't.
they're wankers.
They are wankers. They're scumbags. Support your small independents. So a lot of my mates that I know own bars and stuff. And what's going on at the moment with the restrictions of how many people they can get in, there's two factors. The first factor is that it's a lot of it's weather dependent. A lot of people are converting their outlets to have outdoor trade, beer gardens, etc. But what happens is if rain starts or bad weather, they're losing it sometimes over half the capacity that they can have. The other thing as well is their booking system, so they can now plan ahead and have certain times where people are obviously in, because they can't just have people turning up constantly being turned away. But the big problem that we've seen already, you alright?
Plug it in.
Alright. You plug that in, anyway.
Who the fuck is that plugging?
It's actually on that side, mate, but that's fine.
Oh, they do it.
Just
We'll go in the back in case
there we go. There's a view for everyone. Yeah,
I forgot the gas.
But the other big thing as well is that I've kind of lost what I was saying. This booking system that these guys are doing, and obviously the QR codes and track and trace. There's so many people booking, but they're then not turning up. Mm-hmm. So these businesses are losing a lot of money in regards to people not turning up where they could have someone and eating. Mm-hmm. And it's such a shame. So if you book somewhere, just go. Mm-hmm. And if you can't go, give them notice, because it's just not fair. It's people's jobs at the end of the day. People think, oh, it's fine, we'll just no go. That's someone's job if you haven't phoned and said, look, we can't go. Even if you cancel, they can now have someone walk through the door and say, have you got any tables? Yeah. They can then say, well, we've got a cancellation at this time, you can come back. Do you know what I mean? So
I've got 2 wee points on that. One is that, say places are at half capacity, if you're good idea.
Don't, because it makes noise.
if you've got half capacity, one person not turning up is worth double to you, really. So it's like 2 people not turning up. That being said, have you guys been anywhere, but I don't know if it's just Scotland, but between Monday and Wednesday when the half price offers on?
Eat out to help out.
Eat out to help out. So all the food and drinks, as long as they're not alcoholic drinks, are half price. Mm-hmm. But the restaurant or bar or cafe gets compensated for that.
Mm-hmm. They can claim it back.
Yeah, so they'll make the same amount of money. And whenever I've been out during the Monday to Wednesday, places have been packed. The rest of the week they've been empty, but especially those 3 days.
It's a good thing though, because I've been out a few times, and we went up to one of the restaurants and got went up with my old man, and he got I got a starter, main, dessert. He got a starter, main, dessert. I had 2 pints. He had 2 lime and soda water lime, and it was like 22 quid. And I was like,
it's mental.
What? Because you didn't think it, but usually if that was say 45 quid, that would be normal. But you don't, when you think you need to help out, you're like, oh, that's going to be like 10 off or something like that. But literally 22 quid for a meal like that, and it was a good meal. So stuff like that, where that's probably one of the positives to come out, definitely. But like you said, it is really difficult, because those places, as much as they're getting compensated for it, they're still having to adjust for the capacity.
Yeah, you still can't run at full capacity.
Yeah, and it still leaves bars behind, because if it doesn't apply to alcohol, then.
Well, they say the actual fact for bars is in Scotland 10% of bars will shut, is what people are forecasting. 10%. I don't think it'll be that high, to be honest, but I'm not too sure. But the thing is with the Eat Out Help Out scheme is that I think it's a brilliant scheme. The furlough scheme was brilliant by the government as well. We're not going in the political side though. But you've got these massive chains. Obviously, they're trying to bring back money as well. Mm. But it's meant to be for people who have been on the verge of closing down. Mm. McDonald's and Pizza Hut and these places, they aren't on the verge of closing down. No. They're going to change the way in which they operate, potentially lose some staff, which is a shame. But you can't run Eat Out and Help Out in massive chains and then still expect it to be as beneficial for small independents. That would be wrong.
Agreed.
But we'll move away from that.
There's been one more question in the chat.
Go for it.
What's your tattoo there, lad? I'm assuming that's referring to Craig.
Which one? I've got quite a few.
Get a top off, come on.
I can't, we'll get banned.
Get your sleeves rolled up. One day can show some.
Bundy, you've got a few, do you know? We'll be going in.
Some that are safe to show.
Oh, hiya.
Looks like he's about to.
I have
say
a
that.
large tattoo on my arm that's like a half dragon, half koi fish swimming up to the moon. Let's get a closer look.
Could you think of anyone who's listening to this on...
This makes excellent podcast material.
does?
Plus, it's worth a lot of funny bit. Here's the only tattoo that I've got, actually. It's
For anyone listening and not watching...
no, that's fine. Next.
I also
go on Twitch and look, alright.
I have some tattoos here. Rose, and my mate's name here. Stuff like that.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
I've got quite a few. I'll give you my diary of notes. Take that. So I'm not going to go and... This has took a turn from COVID, but fuck it, let's do it. So I have
Sweat patch.
do I? Lovely.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I've got a Hulk tattoo in the inside my arm. I'm a big Marvel geek, have been since I was a little boy. I've got a massive dragon down the side of my arm. Very, very into my sort of fantasy stuff, as is Bundy. Random one, I've got Raindrops or just above it with the number 11. It was the song that got me into music and got me playing guitar, which was November Rain by Guns N' Roses. The tie-in is the 11th month is November, Raindrops. Scottish rugby tattoo. I actually played for Scotland Youth.
Slap it again.
Slap. Can I get that slap noise? I played for Scotland's youth team when I was younger. Loved rugby. Bit of a... Now it's going to get
Stop
really...
slapping yourself. It's getting weird.
Now
People have to listen to this.
Somebody's got headphones on, they're now going, oh, what the fuck. But bit of a serious one. I have a semicolon. Unfortunately, I lost a good friend a few years ago due to suicide, men's mental health. So got a little memorial of him. Instead of it just being a normal semicolon, the actual top of the semicolon has sunglasses and a red mohawk, like he did.
Yep.
So,
this is my favourite because there's
do you know what?
Stories about it.
This is my favourite tattoo. So for anyone who's a massive Elder Scrolls geek, this is the Alderin's Wall scripture from that. So when I first got it tattooed, it was just the font, no rings around it. Sorry, you can't really see that. I got it tattooed upside down. So what I had to do is I had to mirror it underneath so it looked like I meant it, and then got the rings added. But it's actually my favourite tattoo. And then last of all,
But you don't get to tell stories with it. Right, at least this one. So he gets
guy going then.
He gets people who seem maybe weird or not quite right or crazy or drunk or on drugs coming up to him saying, "Excuse me, mate, what does your tattoo say, or what language is it in?" And he has to go, "It's actually dragon speech." And all of a sudden, Craig's the weirdo, which is the best.
Is that
part.
Arabic, mate?
No, you would
Arabic,
love
dragon.
see when you're out for drinks and stuff, the amount of people come up and go, "I know what that says," and I'm like, "Oh, nice," and then I just wait and it's like, "That's Arabic for your name," and I'm just like, "No, it's not." But last of all as well, I do have a big fuck off tribal eagle. I used to do a little bit of falconering when I was younger. Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, I did when I was younger, mate.
That's a weirder thing to know about you.
Good thing. So tattoos. What's going on here? No,
Ignore that.
I'm just okay. I'm
You're
just
good.
going to ignore the chat. So I'm just looking at sort of notes.
As every good streamer phrase, fuck the chat.
Touching the shop side. What lockdown COVID's done to supermarkets? I know Bundy talked a bit about it, but
Supermarkets have kept going. There was a mad race for toilet roll at the start. I remember that.
Toilet
That
rolls.
was weird. Let's be honest.
fucking insane.
I mean, I think everyone did wash their arse in the sink at least once. No, I'm kidding. I used the shower. So,
Costco was mental.
Costco, places that you could bulk buy. I mean, that must have hit places quite badly, and it was just surreal going into a shop with everyone going round like it was a conveyor belt. Everything's one way.
The fight videos that came out as a result.
It was like Black Friday.
It was like Black
but for
Friday.
toilet roll. Anyway,
But it was
we'll move on.
toilet roll, flour,
Hand gel.
hand gel,
Bread.
baking powder.
Because you couldn't get bread.
Baking powder was a big one.
Like
Your
self-raising
bicarbonate
flour
soda,
and
all
stuff.
that, What else was there? Chat, can you remember anything that you couldn't get?
Do you know what's funny? Morrison's, funny enough, was actually one of the ones who started selling self-raising flour in like an actual paper bag, and just like,
See that second.
and they used to put it at the end of an aisle,
It's
so
just
that
even as it for the chat.
so that they used like people would be like, "Where is it?" and they'd be going down the actual aisle, and then everyone would miss it. So for like a good week at the start, I got all my self-raising flour. So fuck you guys.
Well, Do you know the big thing against me though? Is that you queue to get in, right? And obviously it's like added pressure on the people working in supermarkets. Big shout out to them, by the way. Because obviously we gave it big shout out to the NHS as well. Obviously they've done an amazing job. But no one spoke about retailers, the poor bastards that had to deal with that face to face.
The poor bastards don't need to deal with retail anyway. Having worked in it, that is fucking agonising. You can't say what you want to say. Let's be honest.
That's why I look 40 and I'm 29.
Right?
Aye, mate. Scary that one. But the thing that got me is that I keep mentioning it because there's only 3 years between us. But everybody queues, you keep all your distance, you have your mask on, all your PPE.
Somebody said we're Flower Flex Monday. I couldn't agree more.
The man from Flower.
Oh, you're talking about that, I'm going to pee.
No, that's fine. But we're going to get a little view of you again in camera. There we are, jump across, mate. Oh!
Woo!
Banned again. But what did you think that people obviously queued to get in, but then you get into a supermarket and it's just a free-for-all. So what's the point if you're going to keep your social distancing?
I think like some places, some like more built up areas, it was quite enforced and stuff like that. But like where we live, like it was just do whatever you want. The one thing I honestly genuinely felt really bad about was like the at-risk people, especially elderly. Because I remember like I went into a supermarket and there was this old guy and he was like trying to like navigate the wellness system, and obviously he's taking a wee bit longer. This was right at the very start, and he was just panicking, and he was struggling to find his stuff, and because usually he would kind of do it at his own leisure. He might be in there for 5 minutes, he might be in there for half an hour, or whatever, and like he was like looking, and everything he was picking up, if it was like getting running low, he was asking everyone behind him, "Oh, do you need this? I won't buy it if you don't need it. If you need it, or sorry." And I was like, "Nah, like this isn't happening." So I was like, "Listen, like if you don't mind, I'll come with you. Tell me what you need, and I'll get you it, and I'll put it in your basket, and then you can go and sort it out for there." And even just like something as wee as that, because he was like, "Right, what I need now is this," and I'd be like, "Cool," and I'd know where it was. I'd go and I'd grab it for him. And see, at the end, he was so thankful. He tried to give me a tenner and things like that, and I was like, "Leave it, my man, it's fine." But just like, because no one really everyone was going and bulk buying and rushing in and trying to get toilet roll, and no one was thinking about these people who are at risk or elderly and that kind of stuff, and they were getting absolutely shafted. So I think the supermarkets very quickly had to adapt to that.
Yeah. And
from my personal experience, they've done quite a good job because they made it so that you're only able to buy so many at one time and that kind of stuff. And there was a lot of supermarkets, even though it wasn't properly advertised, which by the media, which is a bit shit, but they were actually given to like old people's homes and charities and like places that work with like people that are at risk or people with disabilities and stuff. So that was actually quite good.
See if that car peeps one more time, I'm going to go out and batter it. Where's the guard dog now, mate?
I know.
You aren't getting to see Bundy's guard dog, unfortunately. I think I see what you were touching on about obviously looking after elderly people. COVID showed people for their true colours, especially within lockdown. You've seen, unfortunately, how selfish people can be, but you also seen how great people could be. So I stay in a little village, and there's a mix of an older community and I call myself middle age.
I thought you were the older community.
Sorry. But we're really fortunate that we all have like low fencing, and we were all out in the back garden socialising with each other at distance, obviously. Yeah. We were doing shopping for one another. I actually helped my neighbour build like fences within his house, and we all helped each other, and it was really, really nice. And it was good to see, like what you said about obviously looking after the older gentleman. It's nice to see both sides of the coin, but unfortunately I think for the majority, especially within supermarkets, you've seen the left-hand side, which is getting a selfish side, which is a bit of a shame. Because you're back, and I'm going to totally throw you under the bus, as you're Mr. Environmental. Tell us about climate, animals invading cities. Do you want to touch on? Because that was a massive positive.
Yeah, I mean, part of my job is to look at sustainability. Not the biggest advocate of having electric cars or this kind of thing, obviously. But
definitely not with a Capri, mate.
I'll keep that because I'm using a car episode.
Right, okay.
That's my plan.
There's a wee.
But we'll go into that. Yeah. So if you have to report all the CO2 emissions from every local authority in the UK, and Scotland reports it as a whole. And what's quite good to see is that everything plummeted huge amounts, but as a country we were still able to function. Some issues, but on the whole, things were going down. What's scary is that wasn't enough to bring us to where we need to be. So there does you have to have that plus a huge culture shift. That's what scared me. When I seen that in action, I thought, fuck, the changes we're actually making are minuscule.
Especially with, like, see places like abroad and stuff like that, where like Venice was
With the
one of
water.
the places, and like dolphins started kind of returning. The water was obviously like clearing up. If you've ever been to Venice, you'll see it's literally like green.
I remember you
can
telling me about the
stink.
smell of it.
Oh man, especially on a hot day, it reeks. But
What was it?
like it was actually, you could actually see the bottom. It was getting proper clear. So
Was it Spain that had the pigs, the wild pigs, migrating to the city centre?
Wales had goats. Big shout out to Wales again.
We know a Welsh dragon.
But stuff like that, and then just like the fact that like a lot of places were actually seeing a difference, and it shows the fact that if we as like humanity as a whole take that small amount of time off, like as a kind of united front, so to speak, the difference it can have environmentally, like across the board for animals, and just in general the ecosystem, whether it be, because even stuff like deforestation, that took a big dip as well, and stuff like pollution in terms of the actual ocean, again taking quite a dip. Obviously there are still things that happen, like the Mauritius oil spill and stuff like that, which unfortunately can't be avoided, but
that could have been avoided, but we'll say
well,
that for separate.
But like things like that, where like it was kind of one time thing, whereas it just kind of goes to show the impact that we have, every single person, from day to day life on Earth as a whole, which is crazy, because we've got all these celebrities and people with social media platforms who always kind of practice and preach to save the environment and say that we can all do our part. And I think for a lot of people, they were like, the attitude to that was, oh, we can all do our part. But I think this has actually proved that is fundamentally true.
You ken who's a prick? Sorry, this is just a wee interjection.
No, it's fine, go for it.
I'll tell you who's a prick. Leonardo DiCaprio. I love him and everything he's in. He said he was a big environmental campaigner, and he's saved so much in terms of the environment. However, when they were talking about who wants to be the first people up on SpaceX to go into space first, regular people, he was volunteering for it. A rocket that burns so much fucking fuel, the emissions equal like however many thousands of cars running for so many hours. He wants to be up in it, and he's like this big. Anyway, continue. I just wanted that we ran.
That's fine.
You okay?
You alright?
I think I'm alright.
You alright? That's fine.
But you can't stop. It was understandable. Some industry stopped, so that's why emissions were down, because some factories, some production lines just weren't working, and so supply chains to like forestry, for example, as you said, they're going to start up again, but they shouldn't make that much of a difference.
See, we'll close it up on this, and let's close up on a positive. So I know we've probably answered some of this already, but it's just to kind of round it up. What's the benefits of the whole situation? Like, let's not dwell too much on the negative. What's the benefits, and like, how has it changed what you do, your mindset, how you actually operate within life? Because I would hopefully argue that this will never happen again in someone else's lifetime, and people will talk about this in the future and say, Jesus, how did people deal with this? Bundy, what about you?
I think it's something that, like, as soppy and as like weird as it sounds, but it does genuinely kind of give you an idea, or give you a kind of mindset that, like, you really shouldn't be taking things for granted. And even if it is just spending time with your mates, if it's doing a kind of sport that you enjoy, a hobby that you love that you can't do at that point in time, and just the fact the impact that it had on people's mental health or because of things like that was massive. And I think that it just goes to show that the day in, day out activities that people enjoy are so crucial, and really are a necessity in some cases, because if we don't have that, then we as people can often feel quite unfulfilled and quite left wanting, which is quite an unusual feeling that not a lot of people can appropriately handle or deal with. But I think definitely that's a positive to kind of take away, is to keep in the back of your mind that when times maybe do get a bit tougher, or when things do kind of challenge you, or on a kind of day-to-day basis, or whatever else, like this is something that we've got through that hasn't really happened at this scale anyway since the Spanish influenza or the Black Plague or whatever else, and it goes to like show that we have came a long way in the way that we've handled it. Yes, there's been an absolutely huge number of deaths and stuff, and there's some countries
just under 1 million now.
Well, there's some countries that are maybe not handling it as well. But look at the epicenter that started all Wuhan. They're pretty much back to normal. So I think it's something that if done correctly, countries like New Zealand, who probably have done it the best, and handled it amazingly, that goes to show that, you know, if people work together and are united on that same front, like I keep saying, we can then learn not to take what we had for granted and enjoy it. So that's why I know that we've been playing a lot of golf and just shooting shit and just chatting and that kind of stuff, and trying to
doing a podcast and make you a famous streamer as well.
Exactly.
well,
famous. What about you, mate? Same question.
I wrote down a few things. One is that previously the people that I work with, or people that I wouldn't have seen that often, typically I wouldn't phone them as much, or, you know, get in contact with them. But with this, it's almost like it's like a free pass to do it, because it's like it's not strange, it's not unusual, it's not out of the blue. You phone people to check up on them more. I've almost got a weekly routine of people I phone up or I go visit now, just to check how they're doing. Again, routine. I got up and do workouts in the house now. That's something I never would have done, but because I've got the time where I'm not commuting to work, it's not the same as going to the gym or going to training or something, but, you know, try and do something in the house, whether it's weights or a circuit or go running and stuff.
Same.
Very funny. Being able to do project work, whether it's this podcast or any project, whether it's learning a new skill, whether it's, you know, fixing something in the house or a car or a shed or something. And finally is that I've saved an absolute ton of money on petrol the past few months.
Amazing, isn't it?
Again, petrol, climate change, bit debatable, but I think I've filled up my car once just at the start of lockdown, once in the middle, and that's it.
I must have been about the same.
Scary.
I think the positives for me will probably be very similar to the boys, but one thing I've learned about myself is that you don't need much to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
You don't, like, I was more than happy having that routine of getting up in the morning, taking the dogs a really long walk, footing about the house. You what's the word I'm looking for? The way in which your day-to-day actions changed. I don't know where I'm going with this. I've completely lost track. Pretty much that what I learned is that you don't need to be out running about the place. You don't need to be in bars all the time.
Can you take it slow and do what makes you happy, can I?
Yeah, and one of the big things as well is that you don't realise how much time you actually physically put into, like, the likes of work. And I'm now sitting reflecting on my work thinking, did I take a step down, make a bit less money, have a bit more of a relaxed sort of work-life balance? Because the big thing, you notice how little you matter during lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everything that I say you, but you think about how stressed out you get about work, how, like, all the silly little things, but during lockdown it just didn't matter. Yeah. It's just get on with it. The real people who mattered were obviously still working and doing a great job. But I think the big thing as well, and as cheesy as it sounds, is that the whole podcast side has really kept me going. And we've forced ourselves to learn new skills as well. And it's been transferable. So, like I was saying earlier about virtual tasting, I would have never been able to do that if I hadn't had a little shot of streaming, doing a bit of video editing, having the equipment that we have as well. And I think it's a bit of a testament that we've kept it going after lockdown now, and we're looking to progress it, and I think we're seeing that gradual progression.
100%.
And if we're going to lighten it up, when Craig says equipment, he means he's
Raise it slowly, like what?
he's glowing cock-shaped microphone.
Thank you. That would be a HyperX podcast.
HyperX Chodcast.
What I'll do is just before we close on, we're going to quickly interlude for people who are listening to the podcast live. You won't hear this, but we're going to take a short break just to talk about our stream features for this week.
We'll do that later because I've not heard from them.
That's fine.
So we're going straight into a game. If anybody wants to play Quiplash and lower the tone of things, let's fucking do it.
Yeah.
Also, before we forget, Vic has been kind enough to post it in the chat. Join Discord. When you're in the Discord, give us a shout if you want to join the Minecraft server that Craig has been nice enough to launch. Also,
What's the name of the server?
The time and server.
No, what's the real name of the server, Bundy?
Oh, you mean the Discord server?
What's the name of the server, mate?
Just a tip.
Good lad.
It's the first bit.
Aye, but no. So if you want, feel free to join. We usually do kind of Discord calls, even if one is a streamer, we'll jump on and just have a bit of a laugh. Everyone that's in is genuinely a nice person and up for a laugh.
See, we're in it. We're in it.
I mean, apart from us. And again, check out Crusoe Rum.
Go on.
And Triumph Cheers.
That's quite
I like this.
And
I
also,
looked away from the camera and actually looked at us and seen what we were doing.
You still both playing. I was like,
Fuck me, we're doing this on stream.
and obviously keep in mind, although this one was live and it was on the time in Twitch where we are streaming pretty regularly at the moment. Got Spotify, iTunes, or Podbean for the actual podcast in the previous episodes. Let us know on Twitter at Time and Podcast 1, Instagram time_in_podcast, or just search Time and Podcast and you'll find us. And let us know if you have any feedback, anything you want us to do, and if you've ever got any game requests, give us a shout.
This happens every time. I've just looked at an answer to a question for about half an hour ago.
What?
This happens every podcast. Twitch has grew like fuck because people are in the house and can watch it and can stream.
yeah,
Anyway,
yeah,
wrap up, Craig.
no, I think that's been a good little interlude for COVID. We've kept it fairly positive as much as we've touched on some things that could be deemed as negative. The boys obviously have done a good job plugging the socials, sponsors, etc. Do not turn that light on, that's for the next stream. What you'll now see is, for anybody who might not know us already, this is us being very sensible for our podcast episodes. After this, we're going straight into a live stream with our community. We've still come up with a nickname, so boys.
I vote the Shaggers.
No, no. It's got to be something with the name. It's got to be something with the name. But
Time and Shaggers.
you just put me off.
Shaggers. Just a tip.
Let me just close this. So yeah, we're going straight into a live stream that's going to be interactive with the guys. We're going to do a bit of Cliplash, maybe a bit of Scribble. We'll take it from there, please.
We've got suggestions in the group. Wow, 2 people say the Shagger at the same time as me.
No,
3 votes to 0.
It needs to link in with the brand and the name.
We are now the Shaggers. Welcome to the team, lads. We've done it.
Can we not do? What was it? Was it actually Georgia that was calling us Time Lord? No, I'm not saying call us Time Lords because that's fucking shit. But is there something?
Whoa, George, if you're listening, listen to him, alright? I've got your back, alright?
Exactly, you're a real Shagger. He's just
Part-time.
Part-time
just
Shagger.
a tipper.
Just a no.
Right, let's wrap it up
But
and we'll
yeah.
get into the stream because I want to play Quiplash and actually say the things we want to say.
So guys, we're going to stop this stream, group back together. We'll be back on
In 5 minutes.
say 10. So for UK time, 4:45. This has been episode 14 of the Time In podcast,
Yeah.
and we're all together for the first time. So thank you very much, and
Cheers,
we'll
guys.
see you soon. Cheers.
So our streamer feature for this week is going to be FahrenheitFever. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How you guys?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Craig?
All good.
Good.
All good.
It's just the 2 of us doing the streamer feature this week because obviously we couldn't do that live, as FahrenheitFever will know after how difficult this was to get set up.
Yeah.
So would you like to tell us where people can find your stream?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitch. I try to stream every day, and it's always pretty late at night. So, I mean, depending on time zones, like you guys were saying, like it could be 6 a.m. for you. It's like usually around midnight my time. So
Okay, bear that in mind. Forever up early for work, we've got a stream to watch. Definitely.
Early start, Ewan.
So why did you start streaming?
So I actually just enjoy watching Twitch a lot. I realized I watch people play games all the time. I'll check out the Just Chat and stuff. A lot of interesting people on there, cool stuff. And I just kind of thought, I could do this too. I love playing games. I'm playing games all the time, so I should get in on it. So,
any standout inspirations? So, any sort of content creators that you look up to?
There's the one person who actually got me to download Twitch is do you guys know Moist Critical?
Recognize the name.
Yeah,
recognize the name though.
He's like a long-haired guy, and he's just really funny, and he plays games. I've been watching his stuff for years, so he kind of got me into Twitch initially.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, my next question was going to be, why did you start streaming? That's perfect. That's ideal. It's kind of similar to what we done with podcasting, in that you see people do it, and you think, well, I'll give it a try. How hard can it be? And anyone who's ever thinking about it, I think that's the best thing you can say to them. Try it. Give it a test. So, what do you do / play on your channel?
I'm still kind of in the Battle Royale craze right now. I play a lot of Apex. Yeah, Call of Duty. I've kind of fallen out with Call of Duty a little bit, but I'm getting back into it. Hyperscape, a new one.
Yeah.
And then just like horror games. I've been trying to play a lot of horror games at night because I always get on real late, get a little spooked with the audience, hopefully. Have some fun. So.
Awesome. I like that. Craig?
I was going to ask if you could tell us a little bit about your channel and your community and any sort of goals you're kind of working towards. I know that's quite a big question, but
yeah, I'm still super new. Like, I just started probably less than a month ago, so I don't really have a community yet. So just getting that community started, just everyone having a good time. You see me on, just jump on, chat with me a little bit, just having some fun, no stress.
Perfect. Have you reached affiliate yet?
No, I haven't.
Okay, is it the followers or the average viewers you're needing to increase?
The average viewers I still need.
Okay, so guys, if you can, keep a window open and check this guy out. Maybe leave a window open with it on in the background, even if you're working or something. Or if you can, tune in, leave him a comment, say hi.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd really appreciate it.
We'll get our Discord community involved as well. We're all about working with other people and try to return the favour, so we'll look to do that for you as well.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
So that kind of answers any particular goals, anything you're really working towards that you say, that's where I want to get to, or I really want to do something exciting like this, or release this sort of content.
The dream I feel with everyone who starts like streaming is like to reach partner and like start bringing in like, have a whole self-sustaining kind of community there.
Yeah.
But I'd be happy with just affiliate and just to have a good, small, strong group of people. We're just having fun. So, because I'm having fun either way, and it'd be cool if other people join me. So. No,
it's smart to keep it measurable. The guys will tell you, I very much like to jump the gun. But what we've done so well is this step by step, just baby steps. Achieve one thing, go for the next.
Yeah. Appreciate the little goals.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So this might be a difficult one. Now, they can be dead or alive, and it doesn't have to be a streamer, it can be anyone. If you could have one famous person join your stream, who would it be and why?
I think I'd have to go with Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle, okay.
Yeah. That's a good one.
That's a good one.
I think he's hilarious, and he's like so down to earth, and I love his like narrative style. I think like just having him on a stream and just talking would just be super entertaining for anyone to listen to.
Nah, yeah, I get that, definitely. That's funny because we've had 2 streamer features so far, and they've both picked streamers. Good call, my man.
Yeah, get something a little different, Yeah, never expect to see Dave Chappelle on Twitch. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be unusual. Wonder what game he's playing.
So, what's the future hold for you? What do you think's next? What's the next stage for yourself?
I'm gonna try to hammer out a schedule for myself because right now it's just kind of I jump on when I can, and I just got my last year of college started up, so I'm kind of juggling classes and streaming right now. So after like a week or so, I'm hoping to have like an actual dedicated schedule. So hopefully it'll be a little easier for people to catch my streams.
Awesome. Yeah, it's not easy. Like we're a team of 3, so we're quite lucky that we can balance and have other people kind of pick up bits here and there. God knows how you set up a schedule on your own whilst being a student.
It's good effort, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. So where can people find you? Go plug. Don't be shy.
All your
not
socials.
just not
We'll have all
not
the
just
links in the description, but definitely just plug out all your socials.
yeah.
All right, yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Fever Fahrenheit or on Twitch at FahrenheitFever.
Okay.
But right now, I don't have anything else. I'm going to branch out to YouTube and Instagram are my hopes. I don't have them up, but just follow my Twitter. You'll see me update that
That's
about
awesome.
all those links. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.